where most people are doing the opposite. They're battling beliefs that they have, and they're associating massive amounts of pain to the goal. So you cannot keep yourself moving forward if you feel like it's going to suck all the time. If you feel like you're being deprived of the only thing that made you feel comforted, then eventually you're going to cave in. So when we shift what's going on at the identity level and we upgrade those beliefs, when we associate pleasure to the activities instead of pain, you're going to build momentum and it's going to feel effortless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Blackard.
And I'm Leon Karina.
This is the How Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today, we're talking with Tim Shurr, and we're talking a lot about willpower and what happens when your willpower gives out when you have a dream that is calling you. And we're going to talk a lot about all those limiting, sucky beliefs that we go through that sometimes we don't even realize that we have.
Yeah, that's right. But first up, we have a little bit of Mystic
Space Weather News.
Alrighty. In 48 hours, you may be getting the sign that you've been asking for. Dun, dun, dun. According to astrologists, this blood moon is still 98% illuminated. And it says the biggest things and the worst things have already happened. You should be getting at 48 hours a confirmation that things are coming your way. So if you feel happy for no reason, or that you wanted to just have a little glimpse of this highlight for your life, lean into that. According to Dolores Cannon, the author, UFO author, and QHHT specialist, she talks about how when we are going into the new earth, and this is really where we're headed. This is really where we as ourselves, as humanity, can bring in this new earth. And as we anchor in the new earth, fear really has no place to it. And she says that the best way to eliminate fear is to forgive yourself. And when I was sitting there meditating on this particular whole thing, because it's great that we have astrology, it's good that we get signs, but what do we do with that? I found this little message from Louise Hay from a book that was given to me, and I opened it up and it was like, the best way to forgive yourself is to do mirror work. I was like, wow, Louise Hay, who has all of this expertise, the number 2 principle that she talks about was forgiveness of self, no matter what you're struggling with, whether it's money, health, wealth, anything. And she said the fastest and easiest way to do that was to do mirror work. And I thought, that's not like rocket science. This is super easy to do.
Yeah,
so I went up to my mirror and she says, all you have to say is, I love you. I really, really love you. And I thought, wow, okay, let me just do this. This is easy. It's whatnot. So I invite you all into a challenge that you can do this with me. But yesterday was day 1. I didn't even do day 2. I ran out the door this morning, but I can do it in the evening. And so just for a couple moments each day, and I want to know how you feel about that. What comes up for you? Isn't that so strange? It's very, very simple. We all have a mirror, hopefully. And we all are ourselves. So let's start with that.
How much do we look in the mirror and judge ourselves?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do the opposite.
100%. And I did that. I could see the wrinkles or whatnot, and I was laughing, and I was like, you know what? I don't care. I love you. I really, really love you. Aww. And then myself smiled back, and I thought, oh, that's cool.
I love that.
And so I will report back on how that's going, and let's just get together and anchor in a new earth.
I love it.
And that's what I got for today's Mystic Space Weather News.
And for today's Morning Brew with Woo, this is a short one. It might be the blood moon that's making me focused all this time.
Yeah,
but I have, and as you guys know, I've been doing a detox with our resident detox person, Quentin. And he has me on mushroom coffee. Now, this is probably not fully approved by Quentin because it has coffee in it too. But it is keeping me focused. It's got ashwagandha, ginkgo, and lion's mane. It's called Bare Organics, and I just got it at the regular grocery store, but I also linked it to our Amazon account. If you want to get it there, it's $15, so it's about the same as coffee anyway.
Yeah, cool.
That's what I've got for Morning Brew with Woo. Great.
Awesome.
Let's continue this conversation with Tim. Do you want to start?
Yeah, a few words about Tim Shurr is a well-renowned peak performance hypnotherapist for millionaires, business owners, and high-achieving professionals. Tim quickly releases people from mental blocks and accelerates what he calls peaceful success using subconscious reprogramming strategies that are developed over the 37 years of research. Tim has written 7 books, including the bestseller One Belief Away, and is featured in the hit film Zero Limits. Today, he's here to talk about the fastest way to share living your best life now. Welcome,
Yay.
Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Yay, thank you. It's so exciting to be on your show.
Yay. I feel like from just moments of talking with you, we already know you.
Kindred spirits. Yes. And
Yeah.
I loved what you had to say about the mirror work and forgiveness. And a thought on that is that a lot of times people don't believe what they're saying. And that becomes the most challenging thing. And that's why they don't stick with it, because they don't feel like what they're saying is accurate or true. So you can do mirror work. But if you want to take it to the next level, instead of just looking at a mirror at your adult self, I want you to imagine closing your eyes and looking at the little girl or the little boy inside of you, because that's where the belief was formed when you were a kid, not as an adult, but as a child. That belief formed in your mind, whether you are worthy of love or not, whether you are safe or not, whether people are going to stay with you or abandon you, whether you are worthy of being able to have what you want in life or not. That's when those beliefs were born. And so if you can imagine taking care of that little girl or that little boy, because sometimes that also creates more compassion for ourselves when we look at that little child inside of us, as opposed to the adult that we are now.
Yes. Tim, I knew that's why I brought this up today. Just for this exact moment. Thank you for that. I did have that trepidation in sharing the information, because I too was feeling that type of way where I wanted to initially judge myself a little bit. And so it is a big ask. And so that is an amazing way. I will definitely be talking to my younger self now. Thank you.
Yeah, one of the things you can do is imagine that she's sitting next to you and you put your arm around her and you both do the mirror work together at the same time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
yeah. That your little one would just be like, oh.
I love it so much.
Can you
Thank
imagine what your life would be like if you had done that when you were 6 years old and all the way to today?
I'm going to say what we always say, but nobody taught us this.
I know.
They didn't have that lesson in school.
That's how important your show is, because where are people going to hear it from? They're going to hear it from you with a little bit of woo.
Love it. Yes, everyone's catching on.
All
Too
right.
fun. Tell us, I know that we feel like kindred spirits, but tell us a little bit about your background for those who may not know how you got into this work.
Like how you got
Sure.
into it. And I know you've worked with thousands of people to
Right.
this point. And some people have said you're the best living hypnotherapist.
Woo-wee.
So let's dive in, because
We're big fans.
the way that you do speak about beliefs is a little bit different than people saying, oh, that's just a thought in your head and kick it out. You really work from the inside fully.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I discovered. So when I got into this work, I was just trying to figure out how to not feel anxious, how to not have all this anxiety and fear of not being good enough, of always chasing a validation and feeling rejected all the time. And I remember I had a therapist that said, Tim, you have generalized anxiety disorder. And I'm like, how do I get generalized confidence in order? Right? How do I feel more? And he didn't really have an answer. He just, you got to do the work, right? What is that? And so I actually went to school for psychology, and in one of my classes, they brought in a guest speaker, and he happened to be a hypnotherapist, and he asked for a volunteer. And I thought, I'll click like a chicken, make the class laugh. But within 5 minutes, it was the first time in my whole life where that knot in my stomach just disappeared for a little while. And I'm like, what is this? And so it opened the door for hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, all the different peak performance therapies they were using to help people to overcome trauma and PTSD. And I'm like, what is that? And I got really excited, and then I just got obsessed with it. And I started using all these tools. And then anybody that would allow me to work with them, I didn't care what the tool was. I just wanted to know, does it work? And I got really fascinated with when it doesn't work, why? What happens when you get stuck? How can you be in therapy for 20 years or do all the personal development programs and still feel stuck with a certain issue or behavior? And what I found is that most people are focusing on mindset, but what's really going on is underneath it. So a lot of times when you're working on mindset, it's like cutting the top off of weeds, right? Or if you just want to use affirmations, if you just keep throwing affirmations on a belief that says you're not really worthy, then you won't believe it, which is why sometimes the mirror work doesn't work. It's like throwing dirt on top of weeds, right? So I figured you got to pull the weed out at the root and replace it with a flower. And that's where I realized that it's all about your subconscious beliefs that were formed when you were a kid that you didn't even know were there.
It's funny, a lot of the work that we do, we talk about being. Really, if you want money, you've got to be money. You've got to be that abundance. You've got to be that rich. You've got to be it. It's easier said than getting people to actually become it. And I found hypnosis is the fastest way for us to do that. And we've both, like, we were following personal development, and then found hypnosis. And we were like, game changer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about how it dives deep into your, I think it sounds so simple sometimes, subconscious, and it really does change who you are in this reality.
Yeah. So you imagine that you got a computer and your computer runs great, but it's got software, and the software is what's really what you're using on the program or on the computer, right? And sometimes we download malware, which is like a virus that all of a sudden the computer's fine, but the software won't work properly because there's some code in there that's messed up. And so as human beings, we've got our conscious analytical mind, the part of us that's reasoning and that we're using right now to listen and decide whether we agree with what's being said or not. But then we've got this other part of us, our emotional mind. It's like the library of your brain, and it stores your values, your beliefs, your life experiences, and your beliefs and values are the software of your brain. And sometimes we download mind viruses. We download limiting beliefs that make us feel like we're not good enough. And the fact is you are, and you're amazing, and you can accomplish all kinds of activities. All of us have helped people achieve what they thought were impossible goals, and then they attained it. Why? Because what they have is already inside of them. It's just those beliefs are interfering. It's like being a fast race car, but you've got a parking brake set and you don't know it. So it's creating this internal drag that shows up as procrastination, self-doubt, burnout, imposter syndrome, whatever it may be. And all we got to do is find the brake and release it. And then you take off. And what hypnosis does is it helps you to find that belief right away, that parking brake right away, and update the code, pull the weed, plant a flower within 20 or 30 minutes instead of trying to do it through free association and cognitive behavioral therapy, which is just positive thinking on steroids over years and years. So that's why it works so well. It's not really woo-woo, it's science and understanding how your brain works.
It was funny. I was on a conversation yesterday and I was talking about a new course that Leonka and I are creating. And she said, every time I've done a money course, it's never worked for me.
And anytime she's ever engaged in the money course, like herself taking a money course.
Yeah. Okay. And I was like, yes, except we've got the secret weapon and it's called hypnosis.
Yeah.
I said most courses just talk about it. And they get you rah up, and you can hope and wish and dream, but unless you completely change yourself, then it won't work.
Well, hypnosis provides the ability to, I don't want to say shortcut, but provides the ability to do the rewiring that is required sometimes for those in the brain. And so sometimes those things, those belief systems really are insidious. They hide behind other ways and we justify them, right? So not only are they hidden, we will defend them, not even knowing that we have them. And so what hypnosis can do is rewire. It hits directly to those places and spaces where we have been even defending something that we don't even know why we do for.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
I wanted to segue into from that. I wanted you to talk about sometimes you've got to work on their willingness through hypnosis, like their willingness to say, I'm willing to fully engage and really explore. And then there's also the opposing kind of idea that once you've got to will yourself through it and use this quote, willpower. And I feel like that's a cool conversation because they're like, I wanted to lose this weight, but my willpower died out. And I feel like, yeah, because you're trying to push through something that you actually believe is horrible and awful that you've got to do it.
Yeah. So let's break this down a little bit.
It's not just like one belief deep. It's like miles
Yeah.
all the way,
Yes.
all the way, right, all the way down to the.
So here's an example. So Kathleen comes in to me. She's near 300 pounds. She wants to lose weight. And she says, I've tried every diet. I can't lose weight. It's not possible for me to lose weight. So I was wondering if you could hypnotize me to be a happy fat person.
Oh,
and then she started crying. So I knew that's not what she really wanted, but she didn't feel like what she really wanted was possible.
Right.
And she asked, what could I settle for? Now, I knew over years of doing thousands of sessions for weight loss that just hypnotizing her to eat more fruits and veggies was not going to cut it. She knew what to do. She just wasn't doing it. And she's lost 50 pounds a couple different times, but she kept gaining it back. So what we did was we went and we did the first session and we started looking for the beliefs. And what we found is that she had a rough relationship with her dad. And because of that, she didn't feel like she was loved. And in her mind, her brain made up a belief without her permission and without her even knowing it consciously. She had this belief that she's not worth taking care of. And so every time she tried to take care of herself, it conflicted with that belief. And then her brain would sabotage it because she wasn't worthy of that. She wasn't consciously trying to sabotage herself. It was a program that was set up in her brain when she was a kid. Now she's 55 years old and struggling and just feels blocked. So we upgraded the belief and we upgraded it with self-love, which is how you started the show. We upgraded it with self-love. And then what we did was we made the act of taking care of herself was an act of self-love. So every time she drank more water, she made a deposit into her health and happiness account. Every time she ate a little less, that was a deposit. That was an act of self-love. Every time she took a walk, she's no longer dieting. I don't think you should do anything where the first three letters spell die, right? I think that she was no longer dieting. She was now acting at the identity level that when I engage in this way, it creates pleasure and it makes me feel loved. Where most people are doing the opposite. They're battling beliefs that they have and they're associating massive amounts of pain to the goal. So you cannot keep yourself moving forward if you feel like it's going to suck all the time. If you feel like you're being deprived of the only thing that made you feel comforted, then eventually you're going to cave in. So when we shift what's going on at the identity level and we upgrade those beliefs, when we associate pleasure to the activities instead of pain, you're going to build momentum and it's going to feel effortless.
Wouldn't you say that's the reason why many fail or have lots of trouble with addiction? It's because that comes from the deprivation place. Many of my views, I quit drinking, think about, 5-6 years ago. But on other occasions, I had tried to maybe stop for Lent since we're in the Lent season, right? I always knew in the back of my mind I was going to go back to it, right? I always knew I was going to do whatever. It was because I felt like, especially like during Lent or whatever, you're giving something up, right? Oh, I have this separation from something that I wanted it. Or I wanted to hang out. I wanted to have the drinks, whatever those lies were that I believed in. And it wasn't until I read a book or something like that basically was like, no, these are belief systems that you installed to this whole experience. And it wasn't until I realized that I could, and I love the idea of depositing into a self-love account, if you will, by doing this. And I'm thinking, because I am trying to cut my food back and do some detox as well. Yep. And I was like, I can reframe that into a self-love place. And I love that idea. How successful have been people with other addictions in applying maybe some of those principles?
Yeah. First, that's a brilliant observation. So well done. You're exactly right. Second, 10 months later, Kathleen was down 155 pounds and she's kept it off the last 10 years.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I want to make sure I provide the results as well. And that happens consistently. That's not, she was just lucky, right? So that's what happens when you lose half your body weight and you keep it off for 10 years, right? And because we made the change at the identity level. So a lot of people, I'm sorry.
She became a different person, quite literally.
Yeah, she upgraded who she was. Because some people are afraid when we say we got to change all the way or you're going to change who you are. Because I don't want to change who I am all the way. That can feel very scary. But what I'm doing is I'm optimizing. I'm not still walking around using the iPhone 1. I got the iPhone 17 now, right? Because it's just upgraded like me. Yeah, I've been upgraded. I don't have as much hair as I used to, but I've been upgraded. And so,
That's right.
yeah. And so that's all it is. We're optimizing what brings you joy and we're allowing you to play to win. Most people are going through life playing not to lose. How do I not get hurt or rejected? And so what you were talking about is when people try to achieve goals, they use subtraction. What do I have to give up? What do I have to sacrifice? What do I have to lose? What's the trade-off? Where's the compromise? And it's always about what you have to lose out on. Where I like to use addition. What are we going to add? Instead of what all the things you can't eat anymore, what would be one item that you could start eating just a little bit more of, right? And then just start with that. Maybe you like avocados or maybe you like a banana, right? And so you start to add. And as you start adding more love, as you start adding more mirror work, as you start adding more healthy foods, if you start adding a simple behavior that helps you to start moving towards a sense of peace and joy, then pretty soon you're going to move into multiplication. Because that's when the results are like compound interest. You start getting momentum. You start making these habits or these behaviors habits, which are really just automated behavior. And that's when you start to see the exciting results. And when it comes to addiction, it's the same thing. When we're addicted, we feel broken, we feel less than, or we think that we need it to have courage or take it to the next level or be creative. And then we get into a circle or a pattern. And then our brain feels horrible pain if we don't have that drug. And we don't feel like after a while, like we're worthy of even being alive without it. And so it gets us in that subtraction pattern. So it's the same way, whether it's you're addicted to sugar or alcohol or opioids or cigarettes, it doesn't really matter. The premise is the same.
And not everyone, but most people are addicted on some level, even if it's to food. As doing this detox, I've really had to be with my body and say, gross, do you actually want this gluten? Right? Do you want this bread anymore when you can have a healthier alternative like a rice or a potato kind of thing? And I think that that's really come down to, wow, I'm loving myself with this self-love that I'm choosing food that really matters. And I want to take it to an even deeper level because I feel at the root core, and this is a collective something, that we all have this unworthiness belief. And we're using self-love as a tool because so many of us have that unworthiness condition. Can you share some of the stories or maybe even take us through a mini little induction to explore that? Like, how could it be if we actually felt really worthy?
Yeah. So you're exactly right. This biggest disease on the planet is insecurity and this feeling that I'm not good enough. And the I'm not good enough means that I won't be loved then, or I'm not safe. And that's what drives the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of failure, the fear of success, all the fears, right? The fear of being humiliated. It's all because of that idea that I'm not enough. Yeah. And there's a couple of things that you can do. You can do a 2-question strategy, right? So you can ask yourself, what would I have to believe to feel that way? Right? I'm not good enough. Well, who? First, I always ask myself, according to whom? Yeah. Right? I'm not good enough according to whom? Right? God loves you. I love you. We all love you, right? But if you're not loving yourself, yeah, then what would you have to believe? Well, I'd have to believe I don't love myself because why? Because I don't deserve it, or because I haven't accomplished anything. And so you start to try to figure out where that idea came from. And then you ask yourself, what would I rather believe instead? Instead of positive or negative, what would be more useful?
I love that.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I'd love if you guys would type in on the chats what would be more useful for you to think when you are having some of those self-deprecating thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. And just flip it, right? If you're like, I don't know what to say to myself. Yes, you do. Because if your best friend or a child was talking like that, you'd all of a sudden be sweet and kind. The people that are hardest to themselves are usually the ones with the biggest hearts. So you're super kind to everybody. People come to you for advice. You're always the helper and the giver and the achiever and the one that saves the day, right? That's why you end up so resentful and frustrated, because you don't feel like you're not getting it back. But you're not getting it back because you're not giving it to yourself. And the world will reflect that back to you, right? You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, you just did a whole channeling session about that, where you received a lot of information about our state of being. It wasn't exact, but our state of being is how things show up as the state of existence. Yeah. And I can see that very much. I can see that and reflected in things in myself. Even though I feel like I've done different things of work, there's also this, even what you just said right now, just a light bulb will go off. What do you tell people who have worked with you? Give us some more examples of some of the things that you've seen in your work. I love those, because I feel like they're super inspiring.
Yeah.
So Joe came to me and he was really stressed out. He was in sales. He worked for a national company. And he was having a hard time selling even a couple $100,000 in services and products, because when he was growing up, his dad was very aggressive and often abusive. And so when Joe was a little kid, he decided, I'm never going to become my dad. And so it caused him, if he ever started to feel angry, he would shove that down. And in sales, it came across as, I never want to be pushy. And so that means he never asked for the sale. He was always kind. He was always super nice. You're such a nice guy, but he never gets the deal because he's never actually asking for the sale, because he doesn't want to come across as aggressive. So we had to upgrade those beliefs, help him, because it might be one belief, but there's usually several in there. It's not like you just have one weed in your garden. There's usually a few. Right? And over a period of a year, I worked with him. He came to my classes, so I'd known him for a couple of years. But we were upgrading his beliefs. I was teaching him new ways to connect with people, new approaches that made it so that he was always focused on what was best for his customer instead of what was in it for him and what he was going to be, what he was afraid of. And it really helped him to transform. And then COVID hit and he was working with companies, but nobody was buying anything. They were just sitting on their wallets while we were going through COVID. But Joe was there, believing in himself, loving himself, being assertive, building those relationships and helping those people feel like everything was going to be okay. Like he became the motivator. Nice. He was in there helping people and making them feel good and making them feel like we're going to get through this and their growth is going to come back and it's going to be strong. And they really trusted him. And after COVID, they had budgets to spend and they all went to Joe. And in the next 2 years, Joe sold $54 million in products and services.
Wow.
When he called me, I have the video. When he called me and told me that, I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah. And because they trusted him, he had the time to build that rapport. But that came because he started to believe in I feel like he started to believe in the things were going to be okay. He was loving himself. And as such, he could rely on the fact that he knew that things were going to get better. And so I can see how his clients relied on his faith in that way. Absolutely. And how that builds trust. And of course, he'd be the first person I'd call too, right?
Yeah.
I too I'm going to ask this from a personal level. I worked in sales for a long time and I did advertising and marketing. For a little while, I had this part where I got jaded and that was natural. I was winning all the awards. It was natural for me because I genuinely cared about my clients. When it started to become about the company and what the company, you gotta hear this and that. When it became about them and their goals, their quarterly goals, I couldn't separate that out from it being about the client. So it was just a bad company, but I got jaded. And I still have this little bit of trepidation about that experience. What would you tell me to do in order to get back out there now that we're sharing our company, right? I'm going back out to potential sponsors and stuff like that. But
if you've been jaded, and you've been made wrong or you felt wrong or you feel like you're rejected, I feel like there's hundreds of things in there.
And intellect, I know, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I know that what we're doing is completely different from what I was sharing before, but there's still some of that trepidation I feel like coming up.
Yes. One question will shift this for you. Just one, right? Who are you becoming?
Okay.
Because You worked in an environment where you were transformational and you loved it and the results were there. You got caught up in a culture, in a company culture that was very transactional. And so it was all about the numbers and the metrics and whether you were hitting your goals or not. And then it felt like they didn't care about you. And then you don't want your customers to feel that way. When a culture treats its employees a certain way, then the customers will end up feeling that way too.
Yes.
Customers are not first, employees are first, because if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of your people. And so you were not feeling that anymore. And so there was an energy blockage, but that wasn't because of you. That was because of the corporate culture that you were a part of. You have created your own company now. You've created your own culture that you have with the two of you and what you are doing together. And it's very transformational. So this means it's an alignment with your goals and who you want to become.
Yes.
So sidelining yourself is not part of your vision. You were born to be on the field. It's the only way you can score and it's the only way you can win. So you got to get up and say, who am I going to be today? And then just be you. That's all you need. And you'll start winning again.
I hear
Wow.
you. I hear you.
Wow.
That's really powerful.
I know. I'm like, I think we just need that on auto repeat.
Putting that on the flip, y'all. Thank you.
In response, we got some of the words in the chat, and they're so well trained because they start with I am statements as far as worthiness.
Nice. Nice.
I am perfect, whole, and complete and capable.
Oh, cool.
That's true. That's true.
And yes, it's funny. Then the next one's like, we are all perfect, whole, and complete. Some have figured that out, and some of us haven't figured that out.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And I guess it's my daughter, she's just turning 20 next week, and she has asked to see a psychologist because she is feeling stuck. And she has every reason to feel stuck, right? Because she's just come out of high school and she's been trained to listen to people. She's not self-guided. And I think that people get stuck in that, not just for their 20s, but for a lifetime. I feel like, do you feel like a lot of people come to you and say, I feel stuck, and they will consume information, but they won't actually say yes to themselves? What would you say is the core of some of those kind of stickinesses?
All right. So there's two questions in here. The first one, the younger generation is really struggling right now because they feel, especially the kids that are really super bright, and they feel like they're doing all the right things they're supposed to do and they're just not getting the payoff that they were promised.
Yeah.
And so it makes them very disillusioned. And then all of a sudden they're on social media where everybody's saying it's a conspiracy, man. And now they feel like I don't know what to do. Right. And so they start to feel paralyzed. Plus they're growing up with social media, which we didn't. And they grew up with a pandemic, which put them in isolation for formative years of their lives. So it really has done a number on our younger generation. And so they need more love and more guidance than ever before because they're just really stuck with knowing what they're supposed to be doing and, what their next move is. She certainly doesn't need a psychiatrist because they're just going to put her on an antidepressant. And that would be a terrible idea because I'm sure she's brilliant and creative like her mother. And so you don't want to throw dirt on weeds, right? She just needs support. And as talented as you are, I got two boys and they don't want to hear it from me.
Right. Yes. And I will sit there and say, do you see where maybe your boyfriend is a little bit not thinking straight around this?
The absolute worst thing to do.
And when a parent tells a child that, they kind of like, whoop, I'm out.
Yeah, that's right. I'm out. Yeah.
And there was a lot of that kind of conversation where her friend was also there and she's, I think your mom might be right, but maybe you need to see somebody else.
That part can be really good. You just got to be selective on who you put in there because she's going to be open-minded and impressionable. And you got to be careful with some of these experts out there because there's a lot of people out there that are therapists and professionals. And when I actually listen to them, I'm like, I completely disagree with what you're saying. So you just got to be and you'll be able to do that because you're tuned in. So The second question there is really about why do so many people feel stuck, or you should take action. You're consuming, but you're not actually doing anything. And that comes back again to that fear that it's not going to work, or I've tried that before, or I've done everything. When you haven't done everything, you've probably done the same 5 things over and over and over again, but not getting the result. And because most of the people that come to me, whether they're struggling to get anywhere or they're multimillionaires, they're winning big awards, you see them on TV, and they get stuck with something too, because our growth journey goes till the end, to the end, until we transition. And it's supposed to be that way. We continue to grow. That's why we have problems, because they're there to help us grow. If you ever play a video game like Pac-Man, the ghosts in the game are trying to stop you from winning, but you learn how to get around them. And then that's the exciting part, right? And that's how you grow. If you just take the ghosts out of the game, there's no point to playing.
I told you I love your analogies.
I know. I'm just like, man, they're just so visual.
Yeah.
As a therapist should do.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a ghost in my life.
Right. So the ghosts are there. So instead of being mad that the ghosts are there, you're like, of course they are. They're helping me to learn how to play in a way that helps me win.
Yes. Right. So now I know where to, and I can't be so mad that they're there.
And it's okay sometimes. It's okay if you get mad. It's okay if you feel frustrated, because we also have this idea on the other side that we're supposed to be peaceful all the time. According to who? I think that we have all the feelings. We're supposed to have all the emotions. You don't go into Baskin Robbins, the home of one flavor. There's 31 flavors. Yeah. We should try them all, because that helps you understand who you want to become.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree. And I said,
I'm like, I'm just affected by a solar flare. So I was thinking.
Or if you have a woo show, you're supposed to be like, oh, I should be zen about this.
We're pretty open about
there's
that.
a lot of things that we are experiencing, and with the collective, there is tons of stuff that's going on around us. Just in you turn on the news and everything is a little bit crazy. And so it's a fallacy to think that we wouldn't be affected or feel some type of way about all of these things. And the first place that I feel like we can have a lot of empowerment is to recognize, just like you said, okay, we have ghosts in our world, right? We have these feelings, we have these things that come up. We can't always just get mad about it or sad about it. And from that place, then we can go, okay, well, what questions, and I love that you always bring up a question. Here's the question to ask. What question can I ask myself that can free me a little bit more or bring me more clarity? When do people come to you? How far are they struggling with something when they come to you? And of course, you would suggest to come sooner. So what can be some things that we would identify within ourselves and be like, you know what? I want to go and seek out this work, or I want to ask somebody else to come in like Tim to help me with this, or study his work to help me with this.
So one of the things that has helped me a lot in my growth journey are other coaches.
Oh, yes.
And when I think I credit the financial or business success that I've had over the years to coaches, right? When I was first introduced to a business coach, I was scared to death. I didn't know if it was going to work, but the guy who introduced me, I trusted him. And it was $5,000. I didn't have $5,000. Some crazy bank gave me a credit card, and I put it all on that credit card, right? And I went home and had a panic attack. What have I done? and then the next couple months I did the training. And then in January of that year, instead of making $5,000 a month, I went to $20,000 a month, right? And it's because I had the business coaching, right? And so I think that the faster you get help, the better results you're going to get, because it's like having a hole in your bucket. And if you can put gallons and gallons of water into that bucket, but if you don't patch the hole in the bottom, it ain't going to matter. It's just going to keep draining out. And you pay a coach to collapse time frames, right? So your listeners, your viewers are smart people. They will figure this out eventually. But do you want to figure it out in 20 years or in 20 minutes? That's what you're paying for.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Remember that before we even started the show, we were having conversations at a foot spa, and I made like a big money mistake in my own business, right?
Yeah.
And I was just all weird about it. I was like, God, I can't believe I just lost that much money.
Yeah.
It was like an event ticket, and there was no refunds, and there was no way I could go. I had 2 exact events at the exact same time, and I had to be at the other one.
Yeah.
And she was just like, give it up to the game.
I said, charge it to the game.
Charge it to the game.
It's a write-off.
I don't know. I think it's a rap term.
See, I did, but it was something that I didn't know. And my dad was like strict on how money needed to be done in this reality and everything. And I was like, wait, of course I need to give it up to the game and just play it as a frequency and an energy, because me going into contraction and lack about this isn't contributing. There's nothing I can do at this point.
Yeah.
But you contributed to someone else's wealth, and givers gain.
Oh, I love that. And as a belief, I do believe that.
Yeah.
Givers gain.
I do believe that. I do believe that too. And also you were going with the energy of, you were making the decision of the energy of what would be generative for you, for the business. And so I remember, because you in all honesty, were investing in your business. Yeah. And either way, it still was an investment in choosing yourself, right?
Right.
So the thing that you chose was the thing that you went with. But And that's the other thing too. Like, I remember the first time I took my very first, like, I got a session or a reading or something, and I was not woo at that time. Like, I just was like, oh, this is weird stuff. But I had an interest, right? Like, I was always open-minded. I would spend tons of money, like, on brunch and stuff. This is for the girlies listening. I would spend tons of money on brunch and stuff like that, hanging out with the girlfriends, shopping. But I wouldn't invest in myself for a reading. And I thought, this is really silly, but fine, I'll find the money. So I remember still selling like 2 of my like expensive, not so expensive bags, but like whatever, right? So I sold them online, and I had the money for the session. And I had the session, and I was like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? It was the best money spent, and the investment was so worth it. I was like, so then of course I was selling all the bags. I was like, those are the ways in which we block ourselves too, is by not choosing to maybe invest in ourselves and then spending and shopping in ways that is directly correlated with the belief of not doing something. So like the procrastination, like you were talking about, and it coming back to, in some way, shape, or form, you believe that it's
not going to work anyway. So why even invest the time? Right. Because you're not good enough.
Right. So I'd rather shop, right? Like at the time, right?
Yep.
Oh man.
Oh, it's just stupidity. And it's like stupidity from the collective.
Yeah.
We all bought it.
Yes.
Like hook, line, and sinker. If we had actually been taught oneness from the moment we were born, we'd be very different, and we'd have no job. Creating, floating.
We'd be like Pac-Man with no ghosts.
It'll be fun things to create. Yeah. Tim, I'd like to bring up your special offer and go through it with you, if that works for you.
Sure.
Right,
sure.
Okay. See if did that work for you guys?
I see it.
Okay, Great. Will you take us through these 2 very, very cool programs that seem to solve these simple things like motivation and confidence?
Yeah. So people would come to me and they would either be lacking in confidence, or they say, I can't get motivated. And I put together, and then they were like, and I don't have a lot of money. And so I'm like, all right, I could put together a quick program to help you build unshakable confidence. And then what if I gave you my personal motivation blueprint? What I do to get myself super focused and motivated. I get done more in a couple of days than most people get done in a couple of months. And so I put together my blueprint for that as well. And I thought, what if we bundled them up so that you could have unshakable confidence and motivation, and we'll retrain your brain in this way. And that's what this program is for. And then we made it super affordable for you as well in this bundle package. And that's it.
Let's talk about what's actually in it, because I know that there's some hypnosis. Do you want to go through each of these?
Sure. Yeah. So the Unshakable Confidence program helps you upgrade those limiting beliefs that are getting in the way. And then it gives you simple tools that help you so that you can make little adjustments each day so it doesn't feel overwhelming. Sometimes we get into courses and we just don't do it because it's too much information. We get too overwhelmed. It feels like too much of a time commitment. unless you're super dedicated. So I try to, the old expression, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so I always make my courses that way, where it feels super easy to digest the material and then start getting results right away. So you start feeling better from the very first session. If you feel better and your brain enjoys what you're experiencing, then you're going to want more of it. So that's what we build in the confidence program. And then in the motivation blueprint, it's really cool because it gives you strategies that help you to feel motivated, but it also gives you tips and tools to increase your clarity and focus. Sometimes we could run to where we want to go, but we don't know where we want to go.
Yes.
Right. And so you can't hit a bullseye if you don't have one. And so this helps you get clear on what you want. And then it gives you a way of measuring it. How do you know that you're making progress? Right. Yeah. And so it starts to give you some simple tools for how to figure out if you're making progress and what to do and how to adjust. And then I created it because some people are more visual, some are more like to see things. Other people are more auditory. They want to listen. Other people are feelers. They want to feel their way through it. So I created pieces of content so that you could watch something, you could listen to something, you could print out something and hold it in your hands and feel it, right? So that it hits all the senses.
Wow. Wow. This is a really
in-depth
system.
I'm excited about the not procrastination part, like collapsing time.
Yeah.
Those are the
mindset
things
checklist.
And because I believed, once I was later in life diagnosed with ADHD, now then I started to assume the identity of the ADHD person. I knew I had that going on. And so I always have these kind of like workarounds in my life that I didn't know that I was really doing.
Yeah.
So I was always very studious. But
Yes.
as I was the master of my own time, I don't know if master is the right word, but as I was the governor of the person that allocates my time, I found that I was definitely procrastinating on the things that could make the most sense, or like that could really move, for example, our business along, that kind of thing. And it's frustrating. And then it makes me feel bad, right?
Yes.
The thing
Yes.
that I talked about a little bit about the sales component. And
Yes. And then we push away because it makes you feel bad. So even thinking about it makes you want to push away. And that's when you set up the procrastination pattern. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we should just give you a little pamphlet. Here's your procrastination pattern.
Truly. And they'll be like, yep, that's me. Yeah.
Like that, then it wouldn't feel like just internal.
Yes.
This is the success quote that I use to help people the most. If you want to create a breakthrough, it'd be nice to be able to create a breakthrough on demand. You want a breakthrough today, you want one tomorrow at 4:00. Here's exactly what you do. You ask yourself, or you take a look at what's going on in your life, and then you think to yourself, my biggest breakthroughs are hiding in the places I don't want to go. So where am I resisting?
Yeah.
And once you figure out where you're resisting, that's where you need to go. You know, that pain becomes your path. That mess becomes your message.
Yes.
And when you start going in that direction on purpose, intentionally, you're going to create a breakthrough.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's funny. I had a yoga teacher and we were doing a 5-day retreat, and I could turn one way and do like a side plank, but not the other. And then he said, your thing is to do the thing that isn't natural to you. And I thought, all right. And I started that just physically in my body, like in 2006, going, okay, looking this way is a little more not natural. You don't want the samskara that they talk about in yoga.
Right. It created balance, right? It created more balance within you.
An alignment. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the funny thing and because you said that, when I do those things, then I feel like I'm like, oh, all the energy comes back. Really ridiculous to me sometimes. I'm like, really? You were so tired before. Now that you're doing the thing, you're just like, oh, and flow, and I could do this for hours, because it's draining me to not do it. It's amazing how.
Yes. That's why when I say it feels effortless change, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because your energy gets blocked when you feel stuck. And when it flows, you're like, yeah, right? Because the energy's flowing because you're associating pleasure and you're getting the idea. and you're excited just about the growth part, whether it works out or not almost doesn't even matter anymore. Because if you just focus on who you're going to become through the journey, the success it comes and finds you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's what I got for that. No, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. I have it in my mind now, and I'm actually excited about what. Thank you, because now I'm changed.
Yeah. Now you're ready to go out there and get those sponsors, right? Because you're excited about it, because you know how much it's going to help them as much as it's going to help your show.
And your personal growth too.
Yes.
Right? So it's like a triple win.
Yeah.
Ooh, those are the best kind. That's multiplication.
And then I'll feel better about myself.
And then I'll feel good. And then everybody watching and listening is going to feel good. Right? And so on and so on and so on.
Empathic here. The circle of oneness.
Tim, the time has gone so fast. What are
just wanted to mention something.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you are looking for the offer, it's at houthustle.com/Tim, houthustle.com/Tim. I also put that in the chat, and it will also be where words are in the YouTube caption. It'll be in the show notes on the podcast. Look, you guys, this is an amazing offer where Tim gave us 2 full programs. On his website, it's valued at $997. That's $997. And he has gifted to us for $97. And to be honest, I've seen some hypnosis go down. And if you're really willing to change, I think that this is one that might actually change you. So please do look at the program. My team really put it together step by step, exactly what you're going to get. And as Tim said, it's not just audios. You also get the visuals. It like works as the subconscious needs it to be worked. And I just felt like that was important to point out. So again, if you're looking for the offer, you can also find it on our live page right around this interview. And that's at houthustle.com/live. I'm having a hard time reading the chat.
It's
Sorry,
okay.
guys.
Paula says, I'm curious for thoughts on how to discern when you should buy another program versus investing in a coach instead.
That's a great question. Yeah. That depends on your situation. If you can afford it or almost afford it, get a coach, right? If you're having a hard time, get the program. I've always done both. Because I'll have the coach help me with my blind spots. And what I usually do is I go through the program, I figure out where I get stuck, and then I go to the coach and I'm like, hey, get me unstuck. That's what I do. And so that's how I do it. So I would get the program and then figure out if you get stuck. Hopefully you won't, because the program's designed to get you unstuck. So you go through the program, and then if you still get stuck, that's when you reach out and get some personal coaching or join a mastermind so that you can have other people help get you unstuck. We all need it.
Yes. And sometimes the digital programs are there to be that first thing that's, ooh, I actually do really like this. And I do want to dive in deeper to this teaching, to this way of doing marketing, this way of doing my life, whatever it might be. I find that that's often the way I see it too.
I think Shurr said on the chat, she's, oh my gosh, what a great offer.
Yeah,
I totally would dive in. Tim, let's see. Tim always goes... Oh, so yes, she feels like your time flies when she's hanging out with you. That's awesome. And let's see, Laura says, this talk is great. It's just a reminder for her and for me. Thank you so much. I agree. For me, as much as work as I've been doing and as much as I talk about these things, then sitting here, I find my own blind spots, right? And it helps to unlock some stuff for me, and I'm excited about taking that next step. Let's see. And Joe says, Joe has some specific questions that I think probably they're more on a health level. So maybe we'll just get those written in and forward those along as well. A couple other comments is, today's talk was amazing. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so much. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. So thank you, guys. Any last words for us today? Or parting thoughts?
Yeah, so I want everybody to realize that instead of just watching solar flares, I encourage you to be the solar flare. I encourage you to be the blood moon, right? Instead of focusing on what's going to happen to us, let's focus on what we're going to bring to the situation. I'm going to bring the joy, right? I remember hearing a poem one time and Destiny was telling the warrior, you better be careful. There's a storm coming. And the warrior replied, I am the storm.
Yeah.
Right. And truly you are just one belief away from your next big breakthrough. So believe in yourself. We all believe in you. Let's go make it happen.
Yes. We are
Absolutely.
the power. Listen on the chat.
Yes,
I
I love this. So Shurr, I agree so much.
I do feel like we could take this a mile deeper in another conversation.
And we'll definitely have to have you back to take it a little bit further too. I know that there's so much more to uncover, but time does fly fast.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure spending time with both of you. I look forward to meeting everybody else within the Unshakable Confidence and Motivation Blueprint program. And we'll talk to you down the road.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
A couple of announcements.
Yes, we have a couple of announcements. Let me see if I can put us up. I don't know how. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later. Here we go. Thanks. Mystique is next week.
That's right.
It's on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. If you're thinking about maybe you want to be a part of our inner circle, you can check out more information at houthustle.com/join. It is $37 a month. We also have a huge 6-month discount. You can do 6 months for $111 if you think you just really want to come and play. We are really dedicated to focusing on helping you grow within this group.
And we have a whole new way that we're going to be delivering that out too. So we're building an app,
a community,
and that's all going to be grandfathered in. You also get all of the fun bonuses. 10% off of the speaker packages.
Special offers, yep.
You also get priority questions, so you can raise your hand and ask a question when we're on with a speaker. And then we just finished up a visioning class, and so that will be included as well in there too. So a whole bunch of new stuff to roll out. You also get the recordings of the summits that we've done in the past.
And all the future ones.
Yes, so all those fun bonuses are listed there on that page /join. So that's hustle.com/join. Go check it out, see if it's for you. But I just wanted to say all that because sometimes like I get excited about the bonuses and then I'm like, what else is there?
Yeah. But if you just want to try it for Wednesday, just pop in and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to commit, then just give it a go. And if you have questions, and if you have questions, you can join. It's team@houthustle.com.
We always want to remind you that a portion of our proceeds go back to benefit the youth and women related causes. Right now, we're supporting riseup.org. They bring in different laptops to be refurbished and given out to other students and people in need. It was created by students. And so we just want to give them a shout out. The creator, the original creator, Ryzen, he won an award for the service-based stuff that they do in Austin. And so that's really exciting. And they were recognized and just really proud because,
it's part of the family.
Yeah. But it's really cool to be able to do that. And there are all their other youth-related causes and women-related causes that if you're interested in nominating, send us the information at team@houthustle.com. The other thing that I wanted to remind you is that we have a new summit coming up. Yes. And the summit will kick off our new season, a whole new season of speakers, of live shows. And that 3 speakers a day will start on April 13th and run from that Monday to the Friday. So mark your calendars. Then we have something else to announce. We were not fully ready to announce, but mark your calendars for
August 20th.
That's right.
April 20th.
April 20th. And it's the next week after the summit. So the Monday through Friday for that. So lots of good stuff coming through. Like I said, we've got the new app coming for anybody that's doing the Mystique and the community. There's going to be a lot of elements to that. Golly, there's just like a lot of things.
And hopefully, you guys, by next Wednesday, those of you that are in Mystique, we can get you set up in the community. Hopefully, that's the dream.
Yes,
right?
Yes, we're working out the team that we have. So
if not, it'll be next month.
It'll definitely be coming up soon. The other thing I want to tell you is Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yes.
We're also on all of the pods. So we need reviews. We
would love to have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we really want to grow a community here.
Yeah.
So tell us what you want.
Yeah.
I've been putting out a Substack every Sunday. We've had a couple people, like 2 people, respond to those. And I would love to really have a new, just some like, I'll write about content that you want to know if you'll let us know what content you want us to write about. I'd love to see where your heads are with that so that we have places to create here together.
And any speakers that you want to see interviewed, please send us the recommendations there. You can always send your recommendations at team@howhustle.com. And be sure to share this with anyone else too that you're seeing. Of course, this is how we continue to change the world and send new light and just really be in this community. So if you're having fun here, please let us know. You can also just tell us in the comments and then share this with other people too. It's all about creating. This is for y'all. And we just keep showing up because we said we would.
Yep. We'll be back live next Tuesday and Thursday. And I look forward to seeing you guys.
We're How Hustle,
reminding you
to take a little time
to enjoy the woo. Bye, everyone.